Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled The Call That Never Happened, How One Out Changed Everything in Baseball History. Baseball is a game of inches. 1 inch can turn a home run into a long out. 1 inch can make the difference between a perfect game and a trivia footnote. And in 1985, one very specific inch turned an umpire's blown call into one of the most infamous controversies in sports history. But what if that call was right? What if Jorge Orta was correctly ruled out at first base in Game 6 of the 1985 World Series? Today, we're diving into a baseball timeline where Don Denkinger makes the correct call, the Cardinals become an October dynasty, the Royals spiral, the steroid era hits differently, and George Brett never stops frowning. Let's go down this rabbit hole and see just how different baseball would look if if the umpire got the call right in this scenario. Part 1. The moment that defines the multiverse. Game 6. Bottom of the ninth inning. Cardinals up 1-0. Royals leadoff hitter Jorge Orta hits a slow roller to first. Jack Clark tosses to pitcher Todd Worrell covering the bag. Orta's out by a step, except he wasn't. Or, well, he was. But Don Denkinger calls him safe. The rest is chaos. The Royals rally, win Game 6, destroy the Cardinals in Game 7. Kansas City gets its only World Series title for the next 3 decades. And Denkinger's name is forever cursed by every Cardinals fan. But not in our timeline. Don Denkinger gets the call right. Jorge Orta is out. Worrell fist pumps. Whitey Herzog sprints out of the dugout like he just found out Busch Light is half off. Cardinals win the 1985 World Series in 6 games. Cue the ripple effects. Part 2, 1985 World Series. Cardinals win it all. The Cardinals win their second title in 4 seasons. Joaquin Andujar, who didn't melt down on live TV this time, wins World Series MVP. Whitey ball becomes gospel. Speed, defense, grit, and a shocking lack of home runs. Meanwhile, the Royals are left stunned. George Brett looks like a man who just got friend-zoned by fate. They fall into the almost pile. The 1985 Royals are now just the 2003 Cubs without the GOAT jokes. Suddenly, Kansas City has no rings, no closure, and no parade. But don't worry, they've got Buddy being Kalana, so that's something. 1985 to 1981, 1989, winners, losers, and the Orta curse. Cardinals, dynasty machine. They win back-to-back with back-to-back World Series appearances and 2 titles in 4 years. The Cardinals become the class of the National League. Whitey Herzog gets a custom-made Hall of Fame plaque. Todd Worrell becomes the face of closers before closers had faces. Andujar gets Cy Young votes in 1986. Nobody talks about his real-life meltdown. 1987, the Cardinals make another World Series, their third in 6 years. At this point, they're the Yankees of the Midwest, just with more bunting and Royals. Curse or just bad. Without the championship glow, 1985 becomes a wound, not a memory. They get labeled the team that couldn't finish. Manager Dick Hauser's tragic health battle hits harder without the emotional legacy of a title. George Brett is quietly traded to the Angels in 1986. He doesn't want to spend his twilight years listening to Brett Saberhagen grumble about run support. Kansas City becomes the Midwest version of the Mariners. Great players, no titles, lots of bitter trivia. Part 4, 1990 to 1994, the gap widens. Cardinals. Herzog retires. Tony La Russa, impressed by the franchise-winning DNA, joins the Cardinals earlier. They narrowly lose the 1996 World Series to the Tigers, but by then the Cardinals are basically royalty. They have a winning culture, elite farmer development, and the only team issue handbook that still includes instructions for a safety squeeze. The Kansas City Royals, their 1980s core is long gone. Their front office is 1 metric ton of confusion. Johnny Damon shows flashes, but the Royals treat player development the way most people treat IKEA instructions, with good intentions and deep regret. By 1994, contraction rules start swirling. Vegas, Portland, maybe even Winnipeg. Royals fans respond with silence because there's like 14 of them left. Part 5, 1995 to 1999. Steroid slugger and a shift in power. With no 1985 heartbreak to haunt them, Mark McGwire is just a superstar, not a savior. They trade for him earlier before the 1997 season. He still hits 58 home runs. 1998 McGwire versus Sosa is still electric, but in this timeline, it's more about legacy, less about healing. McGwire hits 70, everyone cheers. Tony La Russa gives a heartfelt speech about tradition, loyalty, and creatine. The Royals, no 1985 banner, no pulse. In 1998, when McGwire hits number 62, the Royals are literally never mentioned. By 1999, Carlos Beltran wins Rookie of the Year. But during his press conference, he mutters, "It's like I'm playing for a ghost franchise." Their attendance drops below Nickelback Live levels. Fans turn to minor league hockey. Part 6. The steroid era's different flavor. Mark McGwire. In real life, Big Mac's 1998 hero arc helped wash away the taste of 1985 despair. But here, there's no despair to wash away. He's just a roided up power god on a team that's already won. Royals PED scandals, no one notices. There are whispers that several Royals players are juicing. Royals fan forums try to rally. The thread gets 2 replies. Both of them are bots. Part 7, Legacy Snapshots. George Brett, still a legend, but without a ring, his legacy is not as strong. He retires with 3,154 hits, 1 grudge, and no parades. Whitey Herzog, Hall of Fame status hits faster. Mark McGwire still gets grilled by Congress, but he's less desperate because he didn't have to save a franchise. Retires as the home run king of a team that was already royalty. The Royals' ringless curse. 2014 AL pennant feels like their first real taste of success. 2015 title hits like a resurrection. The celebration is even wilder because it ends more than 3 decades of nothing. One bad call gave the Royals a ring. One corrected call gave the Cardinals a dynasty. If Don Denkinger had simply made the right call, baseball's 80s and 90s would look radically different. George Brett would be chasing ghosts instead of trophies. The Royals might have moved to Oregon, and Mark McGwire would have been smashing home runs for a dynasty, not a redemption arc. So next time you watch a replay review in 4K ultra slow-mo, remember, 1 call, 1 inch, and history bends.